Maverick Viñales takes his place in pole position. Valentino Rossi getting, I think it's more like a football match, isn't it? Who can out-shout each other on the line?
You can imagine what it's going to be like in 2 weeks' time in Mugello. We're in France, of course, and he's getting a rapturous reception. Johann Zarco will not run anything other than a soft. He hasn't done a lap in full dry conditions on the medium tyre, so he won't roll the dice and gamble by racing a tyre he's not even looked at or touched all weekend.
Looks pretty cool, looks ready for the battle ahead. Disappointed obviously with the crash in Austin and then the tyre problems in Jerez. But Maverick Viñales has had a fantastic start to his Yamaha career, winning those opening 2 races. And as you can see in front of the safety car, go Nicky. Everybody's thoughts here at Le Mans is for our dear friend Nicky Hayden as he fights for his life in that hospital in Italy. And the riders were asked yesterday, all they can do is put on a super show that Nicky would approve of. And I think that is a way to show they feel about one of the greatest guys you'd ever meet in a MotoGP paddock.
Yeah, absolutely. Not one person you'll meet in the motorcycle community that's got a bad word to say against Nicky Hayden. Our thoughts and prayers are with Nicky's friends, family and loved ones.
Well guys, let me just bring you down to the grid. Alvaro Bautista also has a message for Nicky on his bike. Alvaro, let's talk about the race, let's talk about the conditions now. It looks like you've gone with soft, correct?
No, I choose the medium front and the rear soft, no? Today, for sure, the weather condition is much better from all the weekend. This morning I tried the medium in the front. It was maybe not the best condition to try, but I felt not so bad, so I decided to put medium on the front, and I'm sure that the soft rear could finish the race, no? So we will see after the 28 laps.
Alvaro, thank you very much, good luck.
Yeah, he's qualified on the 5th row of the grid, Alvaro Bautista in 40th place.
Yeah, just a bit of breaking news emerging this morning in Le Mans. The Aspar team renewing their contract with Ducati for the 2018 MotoGP World Championship. They will either get a pair of this year's GP17s to ride or one GP17 and one GP16. With Ducati doing quick business so far this year, they've already tied up an extension with Reale Avinca, and this morning they've signed an extended deal with Alvaro Bautista's Aspar squad as well.
Scott Redding looked in tremendous form during the practice sessions on the GP16. This is Andrea Dovizioso. Had a fall, unfortunately, for Scott Redding in qualifying, but is still qualified on the 3rd row of the grid in 7th place. But it is Dovizioso who is the top Ducati rider, and Jorge Lorenzo, well, he's got an amazing record here, but he's had a bad weekend, isn't he?
Well guys, let me bring you down to his ex-team with Yamaha. I'm on the front row here with Maio Meregali. Maio, amazing qualifying yesterday. You've half bounced back from Jerez. Interesting that you've gone with the medium tyre choices, Johann Zarco with the soft. Did you just rule out the soft completely this morning?
Yeah, we did the test this morning with the rear soft, but anyway, we got much more information yesterday with the medium, and also the temperature is higher than this morning. So it looks like that both specification could work, but we think that the medium will be better for the end.
Are you worried about the threat of Johann Zarco in the first half of the race with that soft tyre, that he might just mix it up with your riders?
No, I don't think he will mix it up, but I think he will try to pull out, because he has the pace, has been really constant, fast. He didn't make any mistakes. And for sure he will be there fighting with all the others.
Okay, fantastic, Maio. Thank you very much.
I think the first few laps are going to be absolutely incredible. We saw the 2 KTMs there, Polo Espargaro, Bradley Smith, 8th and 10th respectively in just their 5th Grand Prix. Absolutely superb performance by them. And this is the luckiest man in Le Mans this weekend, Jack Miller.
Yesterday we saw possibly one of the biggest crashes I think I've seen in my 21 years of covering Grand Prix racing. Jack Miller up at turn number 1, locking the front tyre. He was veered off to the right hand side, hit the wall. So fortunate to escape serious injury, Jack Miller. And it's great to see him on the grid, ready to start this French Grand Prix. A former Moto3 winner here, of course, Jack Miller. He won in 2014.
There's the city of Le Mans, and here is a map, well, a look from the helicopter at the circuit. But Dylan, you've got more for us.
Well, yes, you just saw Jack on screen. I'm down here with Jack now. Jack, yesterday you made the headlines for all the wrong reasons. Will you make them for the right reasons today?
Yeah, you know, we'll give it a go. Not going to do anything too spectacular, I don't think, today. You know, I guess, yeah, as everybody in the world, I think, who watches motorcycles has seen that crash yesterday. It was, you know, very lucky to get away with it, and to be here on the grid today with everybody is definitely nice. But you know, we're just going to have to do our job today. Hands not quite perfect. I can't quite swing off the brake lever like I usually do. So who knows? Might be a good thing in the end. It might help me to conserve this soft front tyre that we optioned. And yeah, we're just going to do the best we can. I mean, the boys worked hard all weekend. We had a really strong weekend up until FP4 when I threw it into the wall. But no, just happy to be here, like I said, and keen to do a good race and try to just run my own rhythm.
Well, thank you very much, Jack. We're happy to see you here. Good luck.
I think we echo those sentiments, Dylan. We certainly are happy to see him after that crash. Cal Crutchlow, unlucky not to be on the front row. They really just got pipped at the end there. Looked in good form all weekend on that LCR Honda. He must fancy a podium finish here, I think, don't you, Cal Crutchlow?
Yeah, definitely. And I think a dark horse, we just saw him on the grid back in 13th place. Danilo Petrucci, of course, the dominant race winner last time out in Jerez. Now, Petrucci in these hotter conditions has had pace throughout the weekend. He's got a good record here, as well as more messages of support from all the riders on the grid go towards Nicky Hayden. Yeah, Danilo Petrucci, 125cc winner here 14 years ago now in 2003. He was a 250cc winner the 2 years after that. He was a MotoGP winner here in 2013. And in these hot conditions, Danilo Petrucci has definitely got podium pace.
What, guys, down here with Ducati just changing the team very quickly with Davide Tardozzi. Davide, interesting choice. You've changed from the medium rears, from the soft rears onto the medium rears. Are you worried about this rise in temperature?
Yeah, obviously the temperature today raised a lot. Then we think that this is much safer for the length of the race.
Okay, Davide, thank you very much.
Well, we're at the French Grand Prix. It's the 30th time the event has been run here at Le Mans. Levassier rings out over the 100,000 fans who've come to support Grand Prix racing in France. Well, as Johan Sarko, I think would be in tears now, wouldn't you? After Loris Paz we saw.
Tell you what, if that doesn't make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, I don't know what. Well, I've got goosebumps here in the press room.
Yeah, and me. Wow. This is what MotoGP is all about, ladies and gentlemen, throughout the world. The atmosphere here is crackling. It was 2 weeks ago in Jerez. Oh, where are we in another 2 weeks? Mugello in Italy.
Yeah, Esteban Ocon, the Force India Formula 1 driver, holding the French national flag at the head of the grid. Dylan?
Yeah, guys, just one more time down to the grid. I'm down here with Danilo Petrucci. Danilo, qualifying not quite as you wanted, but looked very strong in the warm-up this morning.
Yeah, we had yesterday a small issue during FP4. We weren't able to solve it for the qualifying, so this is my worst qualifying in 3 years. So, but in warm-up we have a normal bike, and I was able to push, but the race is very long, and I have a lot of people in front of me. It would be very, very difficult.
Okay, thank you very much, Danilo. Good luck.
Danilo Petrucci looked great in practice. He looked good in the warm-up. It was just the qualifying. Where have you parked your bike, Bertie? Is somewhere in there?
Mine's the blue one.
Be interested to see what the crowd figure is here. I certainly don't think I've seen a bigger crowd here at Le Mans, certainly for a motorcycle race. Maverick Viñales ready for action.
Haven't seen a noisier crowd or heard a noisier crowd here in Le Mans.
No. And that was at about midnight last night as well, yeah. So an all Yamaha front row. They are chasing, and they have been chasing since the victory of Maverick Viñales in Argentina, that 500th Grand Prix win. Well, it's Honda that have taken the 2 wins since then. They must have a great chance here with an all Yamaha front row.
Guys, sorry, just going to butt in one more time. Latest news from Michelin, a last-minute change. Danny Pedrosa has gone from the soft up to the medium option front tyre.
Many thanks, Dylan. Jorge Lorenzo. He's won the race here for the last 2 years and never been headed for a lap. He has 5 MotoGP wins here. He comes fresh from that 3rd place in Jerez, but it hasn't quite worked out for him. Alvaro Bautista, very up and down season for the former 125cc champion, who quite honestly, during pre-season and Qatar practice, you thought this could be a big surprise on the GP16, but it hasn't worked out, has it?
Yeah, he needs to see the checkered flag without any problems. 3 crashes in 4 races so far this year for Alvaro Bautista. Sandwich aside, that brilliant 4th place in Argentina.
So the grid awaits Marc Marquez. Got 2 crashes for him yesterday up at the Dunlop chicane, both front end crashes, perfectly okay. And he has put that Honda in the middle of the 2nd row of the grid. But he looked very, very impressive this morning in the morning warm-up. What a season we've had so far. Let battle commence. Viñales up the inside.
He's going to do it.
Viñales wins here in Qatar.
Incredible.
Round 2 is underway. Yes. Marquez and Kraft. Yes. Maverick Viñales wins. Round 3.
He has. Maverick Viñales has gone.
He is okay. Marc Marquez leads the way. Here goes Rossi up the inside.
I'm really happy, really happy.
Sit back and enjoy. Jerez.
Zarco's coming back on Rossi. Past Viñales now.
Here he comes, here he comes.
Best present ever.
Brilliant first podium.
And the winner, Danny Pedrosa.
Super weekend.
I can't tell you who conquer Le Mans, but what I can tell you, me and Matt are really excited in the commentary box here. This could be one hell of a race. And the first few laps, Zarco on those softer option tyres. He's great with a fuel tank full of petrol. Just who knows what is going to happen. They've got to be careful up at the Dunlop chicane on the first lap.
Zarco with those soft option tyres. He's going to go gangbusters in the first few laps. Can he keep the grip, though? That's the crucial dilemma in the hotter conditions. How much endurance will he have with that soft front, soft rear tyre? We're about to find out.
Front row of the grid, listen to the crowd. The local man, Johan Zarco, in the middle of the front row, 28 laps ahead of him, Valentino Rossi, the championship leader, and in pole position for the 2nd time this season. He's already won here twice. He was on the podium last year. It's Maverick Viñales. So welcome back to Le Mans. I'm Nick Harris, sitting alongside me, Matt Burt. Down in pit lane, Dylan Gray. Here's the grid, 28 laps to go.
All Yamaha front row here in Le Mans for the first time since Qatar 2008. Viñales, Rossi and the home crowd hero Johan Zarco. Crutchlow, reigning world champion Marc Marquez and top Ducati Andrea Dovizioso completes row 2.
Row 3, Scott Redding, Paul Espargaro on the KTM and Carol Abraham, what a performance by him. Row 4, Bradley Smith, Jack Miller after that crash yesterday, and the local man, Loris Baz.
Danny Pedrosa, race winner last time out in Jerez, heads row 5 ahead of Bautista and Folger. Row 6, 5 times Le Mans winner Jorge Lorenzo ahead of Andrea Iannone and Aleix Espargaro. Row 7, Danilo Petrucci, his worst qualifying since Valencia 2014. Barbara and Lowe's join him on row 7. Tito Rabat and Sylvain Guintoli, the replacement for the injured Alex Rins on the factory Suzuki, completing the 23-rider field here in Le Mans.
Perfect weather conditions after a really iffy weekend of weather. We are nearly ready to go. It's round 5 of the championship. Those first 4 riders in the championship separated by just 10 points. Valentino Rossi leads the way. In 2nd place, Maverick Viñales. In 3rd place, Marc Marquez. In 4th place, Danny Pedrosa. But what about our local man, Johan Zarco, the double Moto2 world champion?
Well, he's got to go for it. We've seen in the first 4 Grand Prix of his career here in MotoGP. Johann Zarco is super aggressive, and he's got to go gung-ho very early on with those soft Michelin front tyres and that soft rear tyre as well. It'll all be about tyre management for Johann Zarco. He's got to get ahead of Viñales and Rossi. He did so in Jerez a couple of weeks ago with some awesome first moves in the first 3 laps. That's how tight it is at the top of the championship. Rossi by 2 points from poleman Viñales. Marquez just a further 2 back there in 3rd place, and Danilo Petrucci with back-to-back podiums in Austin and in Jerez coming right back into contention. And look at that, today's attendance, Nick. Just over 104,000 fans. That is a record crowd surely here in Le Mans.
And I reckon we met every single one of them coming in this morning.
Well, it emphasises 2 things. One, just how great the championship is in general in MotoGP these days, and it just shows how the fans have been captured by the brilliant performances so far of Johann Zarco.
Dylan, we won't ask you about the weather because I think that's going to be okay. It's probably about the heat, though. I think everybody's made their tyre. Well, they have made their tyre choice, obviously.
Well, they talk about the heat. It's actually not that hot. It's just hotter than it has been, you know, when they've been out.
It's not sort of a res heat, is it?
God, no, not at all, not at all. About half of that. Plus, we know this track, you know, the tyres don't spin up so much, so that's not quite so critical. I don't think tyre choice is going to be that much of a problem in terms of degradation. It's more going to be how the guys are going to manage them. You know, the soft will obviously go a little bit slower towards the end. The medium will be a little bit better, but I do think that it's going to be actually more even than we think.
I think it's going to be a great race. I think the first 5-6 laps with Johann Zarco mixing it up with the real factory boys is going to be lively. I think is the polite word I'm trying to find.
I think we're going to get some French fireworks fairly shortly.
Expectancy at Yamaha. Can they win their 500th Grand Prix race? They have an all Yamaha front row. 28 laps here of the legendary Bugatti circuit in Le Mans. It's the French Grand Prix and we are underway.
Valentino Rossi got a superb start from the middle of that front row. Viñales got away well from pole position, as did Cal Crutchlow coming through. Zarco's getting a bit swallowed up on the run down to the first corner. Marquez though fires back. Zarco's going to move up the inside of Viñales surely in turn number 3. Yes, he does. Zarco leads the French Grand Prix.
We knew he would do it, and he has done it. The crowd are going completely crazy. They race down towards La Chapelle, and Viñales tries to take it back. Zarco says no thank you, with 104,000 people joining in the chorus.
Zarco leads them through La Chapelle for the first time. Viñales right on his rear tyre. Then it's Marquez who came up a couple of places from 5th on the grid. There's Rossi in 4th. Rossi got a good initial launch away from the line, but got a little bit swallowed up on that run down to that tight turn 3 and 4. Danilo Petrucci looks like he got away pretty well as well. Zarco then still leads from Viñales. Rossi's having a look up the inside of Marquez at Garageberg. The Yamaha man's through. Rossi up into 3rd place.
Rossi up into 3rd place to come down the... Oh, and a crash for Alvaro Bautista on the very first lap. Down towards the Shimano Buff S's. Down the slight hill, now into the left and right. And Zarco, yes, Zarco leads the way. Behind him, Danilo Petrucci has made a decent start. Rossi now up into 2nd place as they come up towards the blue S's.
Alvaro Bautista, a disaster for him. Danilo Petrucci is the man right on the charge. Petrucci has already picked up 5 places from 13th up into 8th place. So Johann Zarco, soft front, soft rear Michelin tyre. He's going to have the extra performance at this stage of the race. It'll be crucial how he manages those tyres though in the latter stages, but he will come over the line. Let's listen to the crowd. There's going to be a massive reception. Zarco leads at the end of the first lap here in Le Mans.
A Frenchman leads the French Grand Prix. Who was the last one in the Premier class? I think it was probably Sylvain Guintoli, wasn't it, in the rain, who's riding in this race. And there is the unfortunate Alvaro Bautista out at the, well, before the end of half a lap of the race. Under the famous Dunlop Bridge, they plunge down towards the La Chapelle corner. Here is Danilo Petrucci trying to make progress on Andrea Dovizioso and Cal Crutchlow in front of him.
4th crash in 5 races for Alvaro Bautista then. Viñales and Rossi as yet not able to make any impression on Johann Zarco, but they do know that perhaps in the second half of the race with their medium option tyres, both the factory Yamaha men, they might be able to hunt down Zarco. There's Cal Crutchlow in 5th, Dovizioso 6th, Danilo Petrucci is now up in a 7th place. Petrucci has been the real man scything his way through the pack early on in this race.
Yeah, I think this is pretty much to form what we would have probably expected, and I think the two factory Yamaha men won't be too unhappy, but they won't want Zarco to really get away at the front.
He didn't get the best of launches off the line, Johan Zarco, but he was super brave to mug Maverick Viñales going into turn number 3. Zarco knew with the soft option rear tyre, he had to try and get clear track in front of him. He had to try and dictate the early pace of this race and to run his own rhythm, being behind Viñales and Rossi, who in theory should potentially be a fraction slower at this stage on the medium tyres.
Yeah, they'll just try and keep that nice legal gap. Viñales and Rossi chasing the Tech 3 Yamaha of Johan Zarco between those towering grandstands either side of the track. They race at almost 300 kilometres an hour up towards the Dunlop chicane. This is where Zarco took the lead, and boy did he prevent Viñales retaking the lead as they went down to La Chapelle on that very first lap.
Yeah, he needs one of those wide load stickers that you see on the back of trucks sometimes, Johan Zarco. He's a very hard man to overtake. If you pass Johan Zarco, you better make sure you make it stick, because he will try and retaliate immediately. He will try and snap back straight away. Marc Marquez, that was a run-off at the Shimano-Berv chicane. He has a good look over his left shoulder, quite clearly not gaining any advantage there, the reigning world champion. So Marquez at the moment holding station in 4th place. He's under no real great pressure at the moment from Cal Crutchlow. Pedrosa unable to find his way through on Andrea Dovizioso at the moment as well.
Rossi comfortably situated in behind Maverick Viñales. They come up towards the Shimano Buff S's once again. So Rossi has been second here for the last 3 years. Viñales has won here on 2 occasions. Took his first ever Grand Prix win here, the 125cc class. It's just his 4th Grand Prix.
Let's not forget, this is not unfamiliar territory for Johan Zarco. He led the first 6 laps of his Grand MotoGP debut on the opening night in Qatar. He'll be hoping it has a happier ending than that race. He crashed out on lap 6, but he's looking pretty comfortable at the moment, eking out an advantage of just over 0.6 of a second over Maverick Viñales.
Right, a little bit further down. Scott Redding going well in 8th place. Great start by Jack Miller running in 9th place. Across the line, Miller at 9th. 10th should be Paul Espargaro. It certainly is. Jorge Lorenzo 11. Aleix Espargaro in front of Paul Espargaro. No, we got it wrong. So Lorenzo has got in front in 11th. Paul Espargaro is now down in 13th. Baz, Aleix Espargaro, Barbara Folger, Abraham Smith, Iannone Rabat, Sam Lowe's in 21st, and Sylvain Gintley in 22nd place. And it's Alvaro Bautista who has crashed out, and Zarco has set the fastest lap of the race, but he is not getting away. And I just get the feeling Viñales and Rossi, if it stays like this, are quite happy with this situation.
Yeah, they'll be happy to see that gap hovering around half a second to 0.6 of a second, because they know in theory that their tyres should have a bit more endurance at the end of the race. Now Marquez is not really making any big inroads in towards these top 3 Yamahas. If anything, the top 3 Yamahas that started on the front row of the grid are starting to make a bit of a break from Marquez in 4th. Hector Barbera on the Reale Avinci Ducati has come into the pit lane. He's retired, the Spanish rider.
So 2 Spanish Grand Prix winners and a Spanish 125cc world champion. Barbera and Alvaro Bautista are out of the race.
Hervé Poncharal, team boss of the Monster Yamaha Tech 3, but he doesn't know what to do with his hands. He was rubbing his hair, rubbing his chin, rubbing his neck. He's absolutely, I don't think he's got any fingernails left. We've still got 24 laps to go.
Yeah, and his other rider, Jonas Folger, not made a great start actually in 15th place. That's what the crowd think. Zarco for president, say the banners in the grandstand. But it certainly would probably get the vote as things stand at the moment. We ride with him.
They're getting their dream result so far, aren't they, the French fans? Zarco and Rossi on the podium. That's what they've dreamt of seeing. Zarco looking so comfortable at the front of this French Grand Prix at the moment. Bit of a wheelie as Viñales got on the gas out of that tight turn number 4. Marquez has just taken out a couple of tenths on Cal Crutchlow. Crutchlow fending off Dovizioso and Pedrosa in 5th at the moment.
That's the trouble with Danny Pedrosa, of course, starting so far back. You make initial progress, don't you? But now he's come to a bit of a stop, hasn't he?
Oh, he's missed the bus.
Yeah, he has missed the bus. Yeah,
you can't start in 13th place and expect to come through, because the podium fighters, they're already checking out long gone into the distance.
This is down at the garage for corner. Dylan down in pit lane.
Sorry guys, just a quick word. So Barbera hasn't come into pit lane. The team are a little bit perplexed, but it seems to be something happened to him out on track. I'll try and keep you guys posted.
Many thanks, Dylan. This is at the Shimano Buff S's. There is Zarco. The gap is around half a second, and as long as it stays like that, Viñales and Rossi would be quite happy. Rossi's made no sort of move whatsoever. I'm sure his theory is, I'll just stick behind Viñales and just see how this works out, as long as Zarco doesn't build up too big a lead.
Yeah, you're right. Viñales and Rossi will be pretty comfortable at the moment because they haven't seen Zarco able to stretch away and use the advantage of that soft rear tyre in the first, 5 laps of this race. Rapturous applause for Zarco as he comes over the line. Marc Marquez has just fired in the fastest lap of the race, a 1:33.162 from the Repsol Honda man. So Marquez last time around was 0.3 of a second quicker than your race leader Johan Zarco. So Marquez is coming back into this.
Yeah, and that's interesting, isn't it? Because Viñales and Rossi realise this, they may feel that the pace has to be upped up a little bit.
Well, exactly. Think of Iannone in Austria last year. Zarco might just be thinking if he can keep the pace around the mid-33s, because he dropped into the low 33s with that used tyre after a lot of laps. So I think the factory guys are going to have to be very aware of that he might just be conserving that soft for the final push.
Day to forget for Aspar Ducati with Carol Abraham coming into the pits. We've already seen his teammate Alvaro Bautista crash out on the very first lap, so they signed an extended deal with Ducati this morning for 2018. Well, that was as good as it got on race day for Aspar Ducati.
22 and a half laps to go. Long, long way to go here in the French sunshine. A crowd of just under 105,000. They're celebrating. Zarco leads the way, but the two factory Yamaha men are hunting him down. Viñales and Rossi look very comfortable indeed in second and third place, and they are a little bit worried about Marquez, who's putting on a bit of pace now in fourth place on the Honda.
What we saw so often from Johan Zarco in Moto2 was that in the last 10 laps he was absolutely phenomenal at tyre preservation. Anybody that raced against Johan Zarco in Moto2 said the pace that he was able to keep in those crucial final 5 or 6 laps was untouchable and unbeatable. Well, he's going to be put to the test here today because breathing down his neck are the two factory Yamaha men, Maverick Viñales and Valentino Rossi. Viñales is going to strike. Viñales is through at turn number 3. He takes the lead from Johan Zarco on lap number 7.
Take that back, he said, I think, after what happened on the very first lap. Down towards La Chapelle. Rossi now prepares to bounce, and Rossi will be very aware as well that Viñales may try and sneak away at the front.
Yeah.
So Rossi will get past Zarco, and we know what's happened already this season when these two have raced.
Yeah, how much stress has Zarco already put on those tyres to run that hot pace at the front of this French Grand Prix. Viñales will see this as a golden opportunity now to try and put a bit of daylight between himself and Johan Zarco. And Valentino Rossi in third place. You're right, Nick. Valentino Rossi will be keeping a very, very close eye on that blue factory Yamaha a couple of places ahead of him, because if Viñales can start making a bit of a gap, he's got to get through on Zarco pretty sharpish.
Yeah, and also be aware that Marquez is closing as well. Now, Rossi's going to have to make a move quite soon, unless Viñales doesn't pull away at the front.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, Zarco might just be pretty comfortable sitting there.
Yeah. Through the Shimano Puff up towards the Blue S's. This is where Zarco went down in practice on Scotty. We had so many days here
yesterday morning,
it was yesterday morning when pre-practice 3, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was inevitable. That move was coming from Maverick Viñales. He just put in his personal best lap of the race, a 1:33.239. He was a couple of tenths faster than Zarco ahead of him. Cal Crutchlow's coming back into this as well.
Yes, Crutchlow bringing Dovizioso and Petrucci with him.
Viñales has ducked into the 1:32s. Epic riding here by Viñales, a 1:32.982. We expected, based on FP4 yesterday, race pace to be around the mid 1:33s. Well, Viñales has lowered that by half a second despite the hotter conditions, so he's trying to make that crucial break here, Viñales. Dylan.
Guys, a quick update. So with Hector Barbera, it was the engine that stopped, some fault in there. With Carol Abraham, they were checking the chain. There seems to be something wrong with the rear end of the bike when he was opening the gas, so both mechanicals.
Yeah, and a problem also for the Ducati GP16 of Scott Redding. It looks like his Ducati's given up the ghost as well. Redding, that's a shame because he was running pretty strongly in that race.
Jack Miller's another man to look at this race. He's now running in 8th place after those 2 crashes yesterday. I tell you what, it's all beginning to close up. Unfortunate for Scott Redding, he led the way after the 3 practice sessions. He is a former winner here in the Moto2 class. This is getting very tasty at the front. And Rossi, I think, like this, is happy as long as Viñales doesn't carry away. The trouble for Rossi is that Marquez is closing on him all the time. Yeah,
Marquez is going to have a headache himself, because if he looks over his shoulder, he'll get a face full of Cal Crutchlow. Now, Cal Crutchlow went for that hard option front tyre. We normally see Marquez opt for that one as well. Marquez this time around going for the medium. Now, Crutchlow has had to wait, the first 5-6 laps for that hard front tyre, perhaps just to come in, get up to prime working temperature. Now it should be nicely up to working temperature for Cal Crutchlow, and in the second half of the race, that hard front could be a tactical masterstroke from Crutchlow, because this Le Mans circuit is all stop and go, some really severe harsh braking zones, and with that hard front tyre, Cal Crutchlow in that second half of the race might be mounting a bit of a surprise podium challenge.
315 kilometres an hour as they tipped into the right-hander for Maverick Viñales. Up now at the Dunlop chicane. That's where he overtook Johan Zarco. That's where Zarco overtook him on the brakes at the first lap. Dylan.
Guys, with Scott Redding, they think initial thoughts are could be a gearbox problem.
Many thanks. That's a real disappointment for Scott Redding. There is Marquez Crutchlow. You can see Dovizioso Pedrosa also in the picture. Maverick Viñales at the front. Zarco holding firm in second place.
Yeah, you can see there the white banded soft front tyre on Johan Zarco's Yamaha. Bit of a wheelie as he squeezed on the gas coming out of turn 4. That white banded soft rear tyre as well. How crucial is that tyre choice going to be? We've got a long, long way to go here in Le Mans. I wouldn't want to be a heart rate monitor on Hervé Poncharal right now.
Coulon, who's a man that doesn't get too excited. We just saw him there, the crew chief, of course, of the man at the front, Viñales. Here is Crutchlow, Dovizioso Pedrosa.
See, what Cal Crutchlow will have with that hard option front tyre is awesome braking stability and straight line braking. He'll have much more support on that front tyre. What he won't have is the turning performance of those around him who've got the medium or the soft tyre on. So it's always a compromise and a judging balance. It's just riding style and preference. Cal Crutchlow tends to always favour that hard option front tyre. Rossi has just put in his personal best lap of the race, a 1:33.077. The pace is a bit hotter at this stage than what we anticipated.
Yeah, it is. They're having to run a top pace. I'll tell you, Rossi's going to make a move soon.
Yeah,
because Rossi's worried about Viñales.
Yeah, he's got to. Viñales has eked out an advantage of almost half a second.
Where will Rossi make his move? Closes up at La Chapelle, up towards the museum corner. He could try to garage Fur, but it's a difficult old corner. This is up to the museum, the left-hander, at the top of the hill.
See Zarco with that soft option rear tyre, and he gets it hooked up pretty well coming out of the hard acceleration points. There's no real sign at the moment that Zarco's having any sort of drop in grip conditions.
Down at Garage Vert, this downhill right-hander. Rossi again, we ride with Valentino Rossi. That's Zarco right in front of him. Would he try to take him on the brakes at Shimano Perth? I think that would be a brave move at this stage of the race. We are about to find out. They come up towards the Shimano Perth SS. No, he doesn't. And Marquez all the time closes up on Rossi in third place. Viñales still leads the way.
Well, Rossi owes Zarco a couple of overtakes, doesn't he, after what we saw in Austin and Jerez?
Yeah, he does.
They've swapped a bit of paint over the last couple of race weekends, those two.
Right, through the blue S's, we'll record them on this double apex right on the brakes. Rossi may have a go. The crowd cheer on Zarco. Oh, Dovizioso has been overtaken now by Danny Pedrosa. So Viñales is Zarco's putting a stonking lap.
He got the hurry up, 1:33.164 is his fastest lap of the race. And Marc Marquez on lap 10 has dived into the 1:32s. That's the fastest lap of the race from Marquez, 1:32.953. He's on that medium Michelin option, just like Viñales and Rossi. Danny Pedrosa has finally found a way through then on Andrea Dovizioso. That's at turn number 13. So Danny Pedrosa next in his eye line will be Cal Crutchlow. Pedrosa then up into 6th.
Right, let's quickly run through the field before it gets hot at the front. It's hot already. Viñales, Zarco, Rossi, Marquez, Crutchlow, Pedrosa, Dovizioso, Miller, Lorenzo, and Petrucci top 10. Then Alessio Spargaro, Folger Ballard, Paul Spargaro, Bradley Smith, Iannone, Rabat, Lowe's, and Sylvan Gintley. Mechanical problems for Redding and Abraham and Barbara, and a crash for Alvaro Bautista.
I think Cal Crutchlow's made a mistake on this lap number 11 because all of a sudden he's dropped behind Pedrosa and Dovizioso. So Crutchlow, who came over the line in 5th place, all of a sudden finds himself back in 7th. So whether he made a mistake up at the first corner or up at turn 2 or 3, but what's not up for debate is Crutchlow lost 2 places.
Be interesting to see how Danny Pedrosa goes now with a bit of clear track in front of him. Can he make any impression on the 4 riders in front of him, including, of course, his teammate Marc Marcos, who's right on the rear wheel now of Valentino Rossi. But everybody seems happy at the moment because Viñales has not broken them in any way, has he, at the front?
Last time around, Viñales and Zarco both back into the high 1:32s Here is Crutchlow then up at that first corner, back with Jack Miller, who's holding off Jorge Lorenzo. Jack Miller is riding on pure
Just where he
adrenaline
crashed
alone here, isn't it? This is
yesterday.
pure adrenaline
Yeah.
from Jack Miller. He is so battered and bruised after that monumental crash in FP4 yesterday, but he's doing a great job in 8th place. He's one of only 4 riders actually in this field on the soft combination with, of course, the man in 2nd place, Johan Zarco.
Yeah, it's a brave ride up by Miller. Lorenzo, well, 9th place. You know, probably the best he's going to do in this race. Even if he gets past Jack Miller, will be 8th place. He'd be very disappointed after the success in Jerez. That's your leading 4. Danny Pedrosa and Andrejevic, so then a bit of a gap now back to Cal Crutchlow.
I don't know if Crutchlow's got a problem here because he's losing time hand over fist here. He came over the line and he did a 1:34.7. He was almost 2 seconds a lap slower than your race leader Maverick Viñales, and he's being dropped quite easily here by Pedrosa and Marquez. The gap between Marquez in 4th and Danny Pedrosa in 5th. Let's have a check on that. It's 1.7 seconds. We're still over half race distance to go. So Danny Pedrosa has definitely got time on his side. Question, has he got the pace?
Great helicopter shot.
Yeah, Rossi was a bit wide there, wasn't he?
Certainly was, and he's coming under enormous pressure now from Marc Marquez.
Just got in a bit hot there on the brakes at turn number 8, garage there, Rossi. And that's given all the incentive that Marc Marquez needs. He can smell the podium now.
He certainly can. We ride with Rossi. That's Marquez right behind him. In front of them is Johan Zarco and Maverick Viñales. Rossi and Marquez, 300 kilometres an hour round the right-hander, up the hill, on the brakes, into the Dunlop chicane.
Another fastest lap of the race from Maverick Viñales, 1:32.872, but he can't break the shackles of Johan Zarco. He's doing everything within his power here, Viñales, to try and open up a bit of daylight. But Johan Zarco, he's like a little terrier with a bone. He just will not let go.
A little French terrier, isn't he? That's exactly what he is. Great ride by Zarco. Rossi just he's having problems, but he's just being dropped a little bit by Zarco. This is Danny Pedrosa. It'll be interesting to see the gap between him and Marquez as we progress.
Spoke too soon about Cal Crutchlow. Straight away, he fired in a 1:33.065. This might be why he dropped from 5th to 7th. Oh, well, that's exactly why he dropped from 5th to 7th, because he got a massive nudge from Danny Pedrosa. You don't normally see Danny Pedrosa.
You don't, do you? Wow, he did get a bang, didn't he?
Danny Pedrosa's got the gloves off in the hot conditions here, hasn't he? That's why, no wonder Cal Crutchlow lost a couple of places. He was given more than a helping hand. He was given a helping left foot, helping left knee, helping left hip.
Back at the front, they're coming up to the record of Long corner. This double apex right into the start and finish. Everybody in the grandstands are on their feet. There will be 15 laps to go of another epic French Grand Prix here at Le Mans. The crowd just under 105,000. Every one of them on their feet, cheering the man in 2nd place, Johan Zarco.
Personal best laps last time around for Rossi, for Pedrosa and for Dovizioso. Pedrosa's the man to keep a very close eye on here, because a couple of laps ago the gap between himself and Marquez was 1.8 seconds, and in the space of 2 laps Pedrosa has already found half a second. Danny Pedrosa into the 1:32s last time around, and he's only 1.3 seconds now adrift of his teammate Marquez.
Up the hill they come to the museum corner. This is Zarco, softer option front and rear. Will that pay off? You look at this start. If you had any thoughts that Zarco didn't mean business, they would be immediately dispelled when they arrived at the Dunlop chicane in the first lap.
Nothing was going to stop Johan Zarco leading this first lap, was it? He got brilliant position up the inside of Maverick Viñales. Viñales thought about maybe outgunning him on the switchback through turns 3 and 4. Got to say, Marc Marquez got a pretty good launch there from the 2nd row of the grid. He was almost around the outside of Valentino Rossi, but here comes Johan Zarco. We're on board with Viñales, and Zarco's going to majestically sweep up the inside at turn number 3. He made that look easy.
That is classic Le Mans, isn't it, coming into that chicane. He positioned himself quite beautifully there, Johan Zarco.
Taking a candy off a baby, that was, wasn't it, for Johan Zarco?
Perhaps for him, not for many others, I don't think. Oh.
Here's Jorge Lorenzo, that has finally found his way through on Jack Miller. Valentino Rossi, let's keep a close eye on Rossi, because Rossi and Pedrosa have just exchanged fastest laps of the race. Rossi at 1:32.670. We said about Danny Pedrosa being the man to keep a very close eye on. Pedrosa now has taken another 3/10 out of Marc Marquez. Danny Pedrosa then just 1 second behind his teammate in 4th place, and Rossi is just edging ever so slightly away from Marquez.
There you go, there are the leading 4. That's the helicopter shot. We now ride with Danny Pedrosa. He's got clear track in front of him. He had to start from 13th place on the grid. He had to fight his way through. But now with a bit of clear track, the Jerez winner in these conditions could be a very likely podium finisher.
Yeah, he's got time. He's got so much time. We're only at half race distance. There's still 14 laps to go. 14 down of what so far has been an encapsulating and gripping French Grand Prix.
Talking about gripping, Dylan, are those softer option tyres of Zarco going to stay the distance?
I honestly think they will. If we look at pre-practice 4, he put in 19 laps in succession on those tyres. He knows how they're going to behave. Maybe there's a little question mark about the final few, but looking at the state of them when they came back into pit lane, I would have said he can certainly last the distance. He might just drop off a tiny little bit in performance if he hasn't conserved them.
Well, we ride with Maverick Viñales. You can just see Johan Zarco behind him, Valentino Rossi and Marc Marquez.
Well, let's be honest, Johan Zarco has been able to keep Valentino Rossi relatively comfortably at bay so far. Rossi's not been close enough to show Zarco even a front wheel. Viñales and Zarco, 1:32.7. There was absolutely nothing between them in terms of lap time last time around. Marc Marquez again on another hot lap. He won't let Valentino Rossi relax in third place. Pedrosa is 6/10 clear of Andrea Dovizioso in 6th. Cal Crutchlow is really struggling. He's in the mid 1:33s now. Crutchlow's dropped 2 seconds behind Dovizioso in 6th place.
Brilliant graphics there. They're swapping lap times. They're very, and they're everywhere on the track. They are, well, they're equal, aren't they, in every single way, Zarco.
And look at this, Nick, the gap from Marquez to Pedrosa is under a second for the first time. Andrea Dovizioso hasn't been able to go away and keep the momentum and the brilliant pace set by Danny Pedrosa. Danny Pedrosa knew he had pace, that's why he made that. You don't see Danny Pedrosa making contact when he makes overtakes too often in his Grand Prix career, but he knew that he's got the pace. He didn't want to be held up too long behind Cal Crutchlow, so it was a case of, I'm coming through regardless.
That, as you said at the time, was very unlike Danny Pedrosa, isn't it? Now, if it was Johan Zarco or even Marc Marquez, you probably expect them to bang their way through a little bit, but not Danny Pedrosa. It's great to see Pedrosa in this sort of form.
Brilliant.
I thought he was absolutely brilliant in Jerez, and it just adds another page, doesn't it, to the chapter of MotoGP.
We're talking about Danny Pedrosa being a podium contender. Danny Pedrosa is fighting his way back here into victory contention. He's only 2.7 seconds behind Maverick Viñales. There's still 12 laps to go. Marc Marquez again fires in another PB lap, 1:32.9. Last time around, the pace is absolutely sensational here in Le Mans. All of the top 5 were in the mid to high 1:32s, which is almost a second faster than what we thought the race pace would be based on FP4. And let's not forget, yesterday in FP4 it was cooler, with hotter conditions. It just shows how much grip this new Ducati asphalt is giving these riders and how well these Michelin tyres are performing, because we've got a cracking race on our hands here.
Well, there's the championship positions. Viñales would take over the lead in the championship with Rossi second and Marquez third, but this race, I tell you, hasn't even started yet, has it? It's going to be this last 5 laps are going to be, well, I think they're going to be explosive. Unless Viñales can get away at the front. And certainly what we've seen so far, he hasn't been able to get away from Zarco or Rossi. Pedrosa closing up all the time on Marquez, who has responded with those faster laps.
Rossi just can't get within those sort of 8, 9, 10 bike lengths of Zarco's. Rossi must be looking at Zarco going, come on, your rear tyre's got to start dropping off soon.
He wants to see them chunks coming out of it, doesn't he? Yeah. Hard work for Viñales at the front. Not easy in these situations to lead when you know that you're being chased the whole time. We saw a classic example of how you can do it from Danny Pedrosa in Jerez when he led all the way with Marc Marquez at him the whole time. But these are 3 riders at him.
He's a cool, composed and calculated customer though, Maverick Viñales. Again, only Marquez last time around was outside of the 1:32s. Pedrosa now is within half a second of Marquez. Viñales through this tight turn 3 and 4. Yeah, they're going to give Marc Marquez a pit ball very soon, saying that your teammate is looming large in the background. Oh, Marc Marquez has crashed. That's a disaster for the championship. Marc Marquez then down and out of the French Grand Prix, out of 4th place. That's his 3rd fall this weekend, Nick, at turn 3.
Yeah, and his 2nd successive crash in 2 years here at Le Mans for Marc Marquez. Marquez out of the race at the Dunlop chicane. Danny Pedrosa now moves up into 4th place.
You know what, that was so lucky for Marc Marquez, because he lost it going through the right-hander. Jack Miller did the same thing yesterday, and of course he went veering off to the right and hit the perimeter fence. Marc Marquez, absolutely no warning whatsoever as he went through that super fast turn number 2. And that is a massive, massive moment in the 2017 MotoGP World Championship. The second race crash in 5 for Marc Marquez.
And his race is over.
Now then, Danny Pedrosa is in 4th place. He's just under 2 seconds behind Valentino Rossi. I bet actually Danny Pedrosa lost time there because he might have actually just had to jam the anchors on himself when he saw Marquez.
I think he would have definitely.
They were just preparing the pit board for Marquez to say how fast Pedrosa was coming. Viñales has got the pit board there straight away. Maverick Viñales' crew. Marquez out.
Well, there's the championship as it stands now. Danny Pedrosa would move up into 3rd place in the championship. Viñales would take over the lead. 9.5 dramatic laps to go, and it's closing up at the front all the time. It's a difficult one to call this, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know whether that Marquez crash might have just spooked Danny Pedrosa a little bit. He's on that same combination tyres. Here is Marc Marquez, a very disconsolate Marc Marquez, crashing out of 4th place in the French Grand Prix. Rossi now about to get the Marquez out signal. Danilo Petrucci's retired. It's been an awful day for the satellite Ducati teams.
Terrible.
That's 3 retirements, both Pramac Ducati riders out, Scott Redding and Petrucci. Karel Abraham pitted. Hector Barbara retired as well.
Here they are at the Shimano Buff S's, so that means there's 9.5 laps to go into the blue S's. Viñales still leads the way. There you are, confirmation of what Matt's just told you. Danilo Petrucci retired. We've seen what Karel Abraham, we've seen Hector Barbara, Scott Redding, all retiring on those satellite Ducatis. Valentino Rossi still in 3rd place. Marquez, big crash, perfectly okay, but a massive blow to his championship chances.
Yeah, he's already had to ride back through the paddock once this weekend. He won't be doing the same again. Danny Pedrosa's over the line. Marc Marquez knows that that was a crucial mistake, a massive dent in his championship challenge. Here we're looking at Aleix Espargaro. This is 9th place. He's ahead of Jonas Folger in 10th.
Loris Baz going well in 11th place, then Iannone, Paul Espargaro, Tito Rabat and Bradley Smith. Sam Lowe so close to his first championship points of the season in 16th place on that Gresini Aprilia.
Yeah, Andrea Iannone's just taken 11th place from Loris Baz. Let's not forget the factory Suzuki was on the podium here 1 year ago with Maverick Viñales. They've not even been anywhere near the battle for the top 6 this weekend. Iannone then down in 11th place.
A sad end for Marc Marquez. What is happening at the front?
You cannot get rid of Zarco.
You can't. He is the terrier. He's snapping all the time.
It's just testament as well to his smooth riding style that he's still got great grip in those soft option tyres. There is Marc Marquez. Now he is going to be absolutely furious and frustrated. You can't afford to have 2 DNFs in the first 5 Grand Prix. It's a massive hole in his championship challenge.
I think you're right, it has dented Danny Pedrosa's challenge a little bit. I think he probably did have to brake, don't you, to avoid Marquez.
Yeah, it gives Valentino Rossi a bit of a buffer. He can now sort of focus entirely on trying to work out a way to hunt down Viñales and Zarco in front of him. He was being hounded pretty hard by Marc Marquez. Cal Crutchlow is talking of hounding, putting real pressure now on Andrea Dovizioso, the 2 former Tech 3 Yamaha teammates, and Crutchlow thought about a move up the inside of Dovizioso at turn number 3.
The Ducati teammates as well.
They were, yeah.
Yeah, they were, weren't they?
These two know each other very well.
Yeah.
We were just talking about Aleix Espargaro, Nick, in 9th place. Aleix Espargaro always says that Aprilia is a Sunday motorcycle. It's great on worn tyres, and Aleix Espargaro proving that point. He's just put in a personal best lap of the race, a 1:33.167. That was only 0.2 of a lap slower than Viñales, Zarco and Rossi.
Back at the front. Well, so we still have a look at Crutchlow. He's gone up the inside of Dovizioso and he has taken back 5th place. He had a fair old whack in the battle with Danny Pedrosa earlier in the race.
Now that's as big a gap as we've seen between Viñales and Zarco for quite some time now. The quickest of this trio last time around was Valentino Rossi by about a tenth and a half.
He's going to have to make a move soon on Johann Zarco. He's going to have any chance of catching Viñales at the front. He closes right up on Zarco as they come into the second part of the Recordamont corner, into the start and finish, up between those grandstands, the noise of the crowd echoing in their ears, and there's 7 laps to go.
We said that there was clear daylight for the first time in a long time between Viñales and Zarco. The reason why is because Maverick Viñales is on lap record pace on lap 21. Remarkable stuff by Yamaha's top gunner, 1:32.621. And for the first time, Viñales has stretched his advantage to over half a second. If Rossi wants to win this French Grand Prix, he's got to find a way through on Zarco very, very quickly.
He's going to have a go very, very soon indeed, Valentino Rossi, up through La Chapelle, up towards the museum corner, closing up all the time. Number 5 versus 46, the museum corner, then they plunge downhill towards the garage for on the brakes. Is Rossi close enough? He certainly is not at the moment. That familiar right leg goes out to steady the factory Yamaha for Rossi, closes up again. Zarco accelerated and they're so well on those softer option tyres, didn't he?
To be fair to Zarco, whenever Viñales has threatened to make a break, Zarco has been able to retaliate. So far, far too early with 6.5 laps to go to be writing Zarco out of this victory battle. He's still right there, although Viñales has taken out another tenth. The gap through the third sector is up to 0.6 of a second.
We ride with Rossi, that's Zarco in front of him. We just see the race leader past the entrance to pit lane, now towards the Recordamont corner. He's just not quite close enough, is he? No. To make the move, Valentino Rossi. He's got to get closer. He's going to do it up at the Dunlop chicane. He's going to do it at Garage Vert, or he's going to do it at Recordamont.
Well, we're heading for a Yamaha lockout of the podium. The last time we saw one manufacturer clean sweep the podium was Yamaha. That was at Phillip Island. Here goes Rossi. Rossi's done it. Yeah, Valentino Rossi. That's a brilliant move up the inside of Zarco at turn number 3. So Rossi has pounced. He had to pounce. Viñales was trying to make a breakaway. So what has Rossi got left then in terms of his own victory challenge? And what can Zarco do?
Don't rule out Zarco in this situation. We ride with Valentino Rossi. The sparks are going to fly. Battle for second place. Up at the museum corner, Zarco on the brakes. For 1 millisecond he thought about it and thought, no, even Johann Zarco better not do that, as they rush down towards the Garage Vert corner.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Phillip Island 2014 was the last time one manufacturer took a clean sweep of the podium. That was Yamaha, with Jorge Lorenzo, Valentino Rossi and Bradley Smith, wasn't it? Was on the podium.
Yes, it was, yeah, when Crutchlow crashed on the last lap, didn't he?
Now then, what has Zarco got left in the tank? Or more importantly, what's he got left in those soft option tyres? Because Valentino Rossi now is leading the charge towards Maverick Viñales, although as Maverick Viñales got this covered already with 5 and a bit laps to go here in Le Mans.
Yeah, I think Rossi's probably got the pace to stay in front of Zarco. Has Rossi got the pace to close up on Viñales? There'll be 5 laps to go, and it would be interesting to see what the gap is when they crossed the line last time round. Well, it was nearly 8/10 of a second between Rossi and Viñales. What is it this time?
Viñales again, and Rossi. The pair of them have come over the line, trading lap records here in Le Mans. Rossi a 1:32.537, the new lap record. This is going to get pretty tasty, I think, in these last 5 laps. And Johann Zarco doggedly, determinedly hanging right on in there. This was the move for Rossi on Zarco at turn number 3.
Classic overtaking manoeuvre at the Dunlop chicane. Exactly what Zarco did to Viñales on the very first lap of the race. That's what the Rossi fans think about it. Keep an eye on those times.
It's come down, Rossi's found another 10.
He's just eking away, isn't he, at that lead, and there's still 4.5 laps to go. It's another remarkable performance by the 38-year-old.
You're absolutely right, Nick. If Rossi comes through to win this race and goes to Mugello leading the World Championship, we've got to set off right now.
Yeah, just go straight there.
I think the French resistance from Johann Zarco might be over here, because he's just looks like he's coming. Oh no, poor old Aleix Espargaro. That's a mechanical on the factory Aprilia. He just passed Jack Miller for 8th place. I'll tell you what, this is turning into a real race of attrition. We've seen quite a few retirements, haven't we? Unusual in MotoGP.
That's the gap. It's a 10th of a second here. It's a 10th of a second there. And there is still 4.5 laps to go, well, a bit less than 4.5 as we speak, because they're just going to end this lap. 4 laps to go when they cross the line.
Rossi, another lap record. Rossi took 3/10 out of Viñales last time around. Valentino Rossi, 1:32.373. That's over a second quicker than what we anticipated race pace to be.
Maverick Viñales is 16 years younger than Valentino Rossi, and Rossi is hunting him down. Viñales will not give up the lead without one hell of a fight. Zarco, sensibly I hope, has thought, right, podium finish here, my first podium in MotoGP at Le Mans, it would be pretty decent.
Well, for 24.5 laps, Johan Zarco has been nothing short of sensational. Look at Rossi,
right up on him.
Rossi's corner speed through turn number 7 was far, far superior to Maverick Viñales. Has Rossi crucially kept a little bit more life on his medium combination? He's on exactly the same motorcycle as Viñales, exactly the same tyre combination.
They race down towards the Shimano Buff S's, 3.5 laps to go. Viñales and Rossi, first and second in the World Championship. Rossi closes up on the brakes. They come through the right part of the chicane. Now they race down towards the blue S's. Rossi has got Viñales in his sight.
Yeah, Rossi's got to pass Viñales to retain the World Championship lead going to his backyard in Mugello. We said Danilo Petrucci's challenge was over, yet he's dropped right back out of contention. Danilo Petrucci obviously burned up his tyres coming through from 13th on the grid. There's tension mounting in the factory yard, Yamaha garage, tension building in the grandstand, tension building here on the commentary box as well. This could be a classic finale.
300 kilometres an hour they race between those towering grandstands up towards the Dunlop chicane. Is Rossi going to make a move now? He's not quite close.
He's going for it.
He's through. Rossi is through to take the lead.
Viñales sweeps around the outside. There was a little bit of contact there. This is like the good old days. Rossi versus Lorenzo. This time around it's Rossi versus Viñales. Valentino Rossi leads the French Grand Prix. The crowd are going absolutely ballistic here in Le Mans.
What a race we have got. 38 years old, and he now leads the World Championship by 7 points. Rossi sends reverberations throughout the world.
Has Rossi then got the pace to streak away from Maverick Viñales? What has Viñales got left? Straight away, Rossi through the second sector was able to eke out a 0.3 of a second lead. There is Johan Zarco still hanging on there. He's dropped back by over a second.
He's breaking him.
He's breaking him straight away. Rossi's kept the life in those tyres. Can Viñales respond? Can he make a fight of it with 2 and a bit laps to go?
Through the Shimano Buff S as they come. Valentino Rossi leads the French Grand Prix. He has been second here for the last 3 years. He could increase his lead in the World Championship going in to one of the biggest Grand Prix of the year, one of the biggest sporting events of the year in Italy. He could go into Mugello leading the World Championship. What has Maverick Viñales got to say about that with 2 laps to go?
Just under 10 kilometres of action left here in Le Mans. Brace yourselves, ladies and gentlemen at home. This is going to potentially be an absolute cracker. Viñales did pick up a bit of pace as they came over the line. He's not giving this up by any stretch of the imagination. This is where Rossi made that crucial move, that crucial attack for the lead last time around at turn number 3.
Well, I'm sure Viñales would like to do the same, but he's just not close enough at the moment. Can he get close enough to do it on the very last lap? La Chapelle corner, the bottom of the hill. Up the hill they come towards the museum corner. The crowd are going absolutely crazy. 105,000 fans here. They are being richly entertained.
Rossi's got brilliant corner speed and great drive grip coming out of turn number 7. We saw him close in on Viñales a couple of laps to go through there. It looks like Rossi on the edge of the tyre seems to have just a little bit better grip than Viñales.
Now can Viñales close the gap as they come down towards the Shimano Buff S? He can't take him here. If he's going to take him, if he's going to have a go, I think it would be up at the Dunlop chicane on the very last lap. Mistake by Rossi, but he still hangs in there.
It was the mistake by Viñales. Viñales went through the Shimano Buff chicane. He couldn't keep the throttle on at full pelt because he knew he would be penalised for taking an advantage. That's how much pressure Viñales is under. Ooh. An unforced error being forced out of him by Valentino Rossi's pace at the front. Viñales though still right there. He's not cracked just yet.
1 lap to go, 2.600 miles of this legendary Bugatti circuit. He's not going to be close enough, Maverick Viñales, to have a go at the Dunlop chicane. It was a mistake by Viñales that could have cost him dear.
27 laps of pulsating action here in Le Mans, and Valentino Rossi last time around was still doing a lap of 1:32.3 down through La Chapelle. What have we got? 8 corners left of this fantastic French Grand Prix. What has Viñales got left? Moment there for Rossi as he squeezes on the power. He knows Viñales is right there on his shadow.
This is where he's so strong, Valentino Rossi, coming out of the museum corner as they race down towards the garage vert corner, and that is going to be absolutely crucial. Strong he is again as they come down the hill towards the right hand.
Oh, Rossi's wide! Rossi's wide! He tried to run a defensive line. Valentino Rossi tried to cut a tight defensive line, and he got in too hot. He's had a crucial late mistake by Rossi.
Here they come down towards the garage vert corner. Can Rossi get back at him? A rare mistake by the 9 times world champion. They close up. It's left and now it's right. The Blue S's approach.
It's going to have to be recorded on. Surely Rossi's not close enough at the Blue S's. It will have to be turns. Oh, Rossi's down! Valentino Rossi's crashed out of second place.
Rossi down and okay. Maverick Viñales will win the French Grand Prix. What a race we have witnessed once again. Viñales wins his 3rd Grand Prix of the season. Maverick Viñales takes over the lead in the World Championship.
What an unbelievable French Grand Prix here in Le Mans. Maverick Viñales with a record lap on the final lap, pressurising Valentino Rossi into a real surprising late error from the 9 times world champion. There is Rossi. Johann Zarco, a fantastic first MotoGP podium. What a place to do it in front of his home crowd. Danny Pedrosa gifted the podium in 3rd place. Dovizioso 4th, Crutchlow 5th, Lorenzo in 6th place. Lorenzo did a personal best lap on the last lap as well. Folger 7th, Miller 8th.
Rossi realises that it's no world.
Look at that young man there.
Oh, look at that
in tears.
Lad. Oh, what a race. There's 2 mistakes, wasn't it? One at Garage Vert that put Viñales in the lead.
The key mistake for Rossi was at Garage Vert.
Yeah.
He tried to run that tighter defensive line, ran in hot. I tell you what, you do not see Rossi make those kind of mistakes in last lap battles. He is normally the maestro of the last lap battle, and Viñales got his measure today.
A little bit further down, Jack Miller, brave 8th, Loris Baz 9th, 10th Iannone, 11th Rabat, Paul Espargaro 12th, 13th Bradley Smith, and Sam Lowe's his first points of the season in 14th. And well done Sylvain Gintoli, replacing Alex Rins at Suzuki, picks up a single point. Oh, what an end to the proceedings.
Wow. Rossi was desperate. He knew he wasn't close enough at the S Blur, so he was trying to mount an attack, get hooked onto Viñales' rear tyre to have a lunge at the final corner at turn number 13, record him on. But this is going to be potentially a monumental moment in the World Championship.
Well, if he'd have been leading the race as he was going over the line, he would have been 7 points in front. I think it'd have been 3 points down, wouldn't he, if he'd have finished in 2nd place. Oh, that little lad. Oh,
well,
dear. I'll be proud of him. What a race by Valentino Rossi. But he shakes his head.
I can't recall the last time Valentino Rossi made 2 mistakes on the last lap of a race, certainly when he was fighting for the win. Johann Zarco there, what a performance by the Frenchman. And you've got to say Viñales, to do a lap record on the final lap, under that kind of impression, under that kind of pressure from Valentino Rossi. What a race. Marquez crashing out, Rossi crashing out, and the championship swings again back towards Viñales.
What is going to happen in 2 weeks' time in Mugello? You just don't know, do you? Well done, Johann Zarco. First podium in a MotoGP, only 2nd podium here at his home Grand Prix in France. He rode an absolutely brilliant race, led the way, then in 2nd place, finally succumbed in the end to Rossi. But then when Rossi crashed, of course, he retook 2nd place. And Danny Pedrosa from 3rd place, 13th place on the grid, picks up another podium finish. And I imagine Danny Pedrosa has moved into 2nd place in the World Championship. Yeah. And even my maths are correct.
Yeah, 17 points, then he trails Maverick Viñales. Sometimes you've got to be in it to win it, haven't you, Danny Pedrosa? He was 5th behind Marquez when Marquez crashed coming through turn number 2. Jack Miller congratulating Johan Zarco. The first of many, many MotoGP podiums for the Flying Frenchman.
Sam Lowe's great, picked up his first ever MotoGP World Championship point. Shakes hands with Zarco. He hasn't done that forever more, has he, in Moto2 battling day?
Great for Tech 3 Yamaha.
Tell you, they've had a good result because Jonas Folger was in 7th place as well.
Hervé Poncheral's now having a lie down in a dark room, I'm sure.
Yeah. Great ride by Maverick Viñales, you're right. His pace caused the others to make mistakes.
Well, I just didn't expect Rossi to make that mistake at Garage Vert. Yeah, that was the crucial mistake. Rossi was so wary of Viñales attacking him on that downhill run to turn number 8 that Rossi just made a mistake. He got into running that tight defensive line. Take nothing away though from this man. They don't call him Top Gun for nothing.
Yamaha's 500th Grand Prix victory, and in some ways it would have been very special if Valentino Rossi was the man to give them that, because he did that for Honda, didn't he, when he won in Japan in the early 90s. There's the crash for Valentino Rossi. Very last lap, the checkered flag in sight for Valentino Rossi. He was running 2nd, but he was lining him up at Ricordamo to get him on the brakes.
Rossi knows that was a massive, massive mistake.
Yeah.
Not only in terms of today, but in terms of the championship. Big deep breaths from Rossi. You know, when he took the lead from Viñales, you thought, Rossi never blows it in that situation, does he? It's very, very rarely. I'm struggling to think off the top of my head a time when Rossi has made that kind of error on the last lap twice.
I think that must be the girlfriend.
500 wins, as Nick said then, for Yamaha in Grand Prix racing.
Fumio Ito, wasn't it? Won that 250cc race, 1961. Congratulations to Yamaha. In some ways, it would have been right for Rossi to win the race for them, but tremendous stuff from Viñales, Zarco, and Danny Pedrosa. Some brave rides as well. Jack Miller in 8th place. Loris Baz in the top 10 in 9th. So many mechanical problems. KTM again, 12th and 13th for Bradley Smith and Paul Espargaro. Sam Lowe's picking up his very first MotoGP World Championship points, and the returning Sylvain Gintley picking up a point for Suzuki.
Yeah, Johan Zarco, the first French rider on a MotoGP podium since Randy de Pugnet, the British Grand Prix at Donington Park in 2009. I remember it well. Andrea Dovizioso's first win in the damp conditions,
wasn't it?
And of course, a Tech 3 Yamaha rider that day was on the podium with Colin Edwards.
Yeah. Tremendous stuff. Zarco, you do feel will win a Grand Prix before the end of the season.
That guy just oozes class on and off the motorcycle. I'll tell you what, whenever Yamaha might have thought in a few years' time when Rossi decides to call it quits, they might have had a headache trying to find a replacement for Rossi. I think they've already found one.
Somebody asked at the press conference Rossi, but he said, I'm not known about retiring, but he said he would be a brilliant replacement when I finally do that. There we go, Parc Ferme. What a day we've had here at Le Mans. What a MotoGP race. Everyone this season has been different, isn't it? That's what makes MotoGP so special. You just don't know what to expect.
When was the last Tech 3 Yamaha podium? Was it Bradley Smith in Australia?
I would say definitely
trying to think, 2014.
2014, yeah. Here is Danny Pedrosa, great 3rd place.
Well, Danny, congratulations on the podium here in Le Mans, and also now 3rd in the championship. But just how tough was it for you having to fight your way up from 13th on the grid?
Yes, I'm super happy about this race because I knew it was so hard. Just to get through the first chicane with being in the back of the pack, I knew there was a lot of pressure just to make it right and then to make the enough pass fast, because I knew the race at the beginning stretched quite easy. So, but I was quite aggressive. I did quite good moves, and I'm happy that later with my pace. I tried to make no mistakes, which was key, and at the end got this 4th position. But in the last lap, Valentino crashed, so this was a nice gift, and I'm super happy about recovering from yesterday to today. And thanks to all the team, and also best regards to Nicky and his family.
Thanks a lot, Danny. Congratulations.
Yeah, it was a great ride by Danny Pedrosa. He really has bounced back to form. Here he is getting past Andrea Dovizioso. I don't know if we're going to see him going past Cal Crutchlow. It wasn't as clean a move as that one, was it?
So I tell you what, he was really pushing that front end on that move up the inside of Andrea Dovizioso. 13th to 3rd, he would have taken that before the race started. This was the move on Crutchlow. Game of MotoGP Dodgems coming up. That was pretty aggressive, you've got to save Danny Petrucci. Knowing Danny Petrucci as we do, I'm sure he'll go and have a little word with Cal Crutchlow a little bit later on. But he's right back in that championship
He
hunt,
certainly
isn't he?
is, and there's Sete Gibernau, now he's rider coach. But this is the man of the moment in so many ways. Zarco Johan, his first MotoGP podium.
Well, Johan, congratulations. Your first MotoGP podium, and you've done so in front of your home crowd. How does it feel?
Just fantastic. It has been a nice race, a great start. Since the beginning, I feel stronger on the start and on the first corner, so I did the same. And then I was feeling good, tried to control my tire. Viñales overtook me and was not easy to stay behind him, but I could keep a good pace. So it was good to have him in the front like this. I could again manage the front tire and the rear tire. And then when Rossi passed me, he was quite strong. He caught Viñales almost like a small moment, and then they were fighting. I expect that maybe it's gonna be a big fight and some crash. And yes, Valley crashed, second place. Anyway, it was a third place, a nice podium, but second is even better for points. Just thank you. I think this support today has been a great help. I could hear the Marseillaise before the start. I was thinking, why not? I can have it at the finish line. But second, it's just fantastic. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to people who are watching me. And keep pushing because other podiums need to come.
Johan, thank you very much. Congratulations.
A real great guy on and off the track, isn't he? I mean, we don't have the race against him, so we say that, but fantastic. And calculated ride. He followed Viñales. When Rossi went by, he realised that he wasn't going to stay with him, just held it. Third place would have been quite happy, and then Rossi going down, and that was that.
Tell you what, Rossi wasn't accepting second place today, was he?
No, he wasn't. No, you're absolutely right. No, that wasn't going to be good enough. And here is Rossi's Yamaha being wheeled back. Oh, but Jello, we're already looking forward to it in 2 weeks' time. What a revival in the fortunes of French motorcycle riders. The French Grand Prix just shows what the success of a rider can bring. But we have a new man at the head of the World Championship. He was there for the first 2 Grand Prix. It's Maverick Viñales.
Well, Maverick, you won the race, you're leading the championship, and it's Yamaha's 500th victory. But we all want to know, what was that last lap battle like with Valentino?
Incredible. I just give my best, in the last lap. I tried to push Vale at the 100%. I was preparing really well for the sector 3 because there I was really fast and I could try to overtake. But anyway, I saw Vale make a mistake, so I take my opportunity. I push 200% to try to go away, and finally it comes a victory. So happy because after 2 disaster races, coming again on the victory, doing the fast lap at the end is so nice.
Thanks a lot, Maverick. Congratulations.
Yeah, all the headlines will probably be about Valentino Rossi's crash, about Johan Zarco. Don't take anything away from number 25 there. He leads the World Championship.
Yeah,
what a battle between the two. It's Lorenzo and Rossi all over again, wasn't it?
Just the slightest of contact there between the two Yamaha teammates. The first real showdown we've seen between the pair of them. As we said, Rossi was not accepting second place. He went for it. He was desperate to try and close up on Viñales to attack him at Recordamont. I think it's safe to say Maverick Viñales has a bit of a love affair with Le Mans. He took his first ever Grand Prix victory here in 2011. Won from pole position in 2013. Took Suzuki's first win in ages here. First podium rather in ages here last year. And now he's taken Yamaha's 500th Grand Prix win here today, and what a way to do it.
Well, the podium beckons these 3 riders. Danny Petrucci now up into second place in the World Championship. Oh dear, the tears are gone, but he's not going to be a happy boy on the way home, is he?
No, but he's got a Marvel Avengers t-shirt on, and he was able to marvel at an absolutely brilliant race. That was the crucial mistake by Rossi.
Yeah, it was.
Wide on the brakes at the garage there corner. He lost, what, 3, 4, 5 bike lengths, and as Viñales said, he was so strong in this part of the track, the third sector. Rossi closes up on the brakes coming through the Shimano Berth S's, but this is where it all went horribly wrong for the Italian.
You do feel he was going to try and line him up, don't you, for the Corderman corner? But
absolutely no doubt about it. I will bet my last pound that that's what was going through Valentino Rossi's mind.
Oh, we ride with Viñales. What some brilliant onboard stuff. And he's gone.
Yeah, and of course at this
stage...
Did
Viñales know?
No, of course he wouldn't know. I mean, there's no way Viñales would have known about that. So what Viñales would have been expecting was to see a big blue blur come up the inside of him at turn 13.
Banging into his right knee. Yeah.
What a day. Falls for Marquez. Fall for Rossi.
So the riders making their way to the podium. 105,000 fans here today.
Yeah, Tech 3, of course, their last podium, I'll correct myself, was Misano in 2015 when Bradley Smith, of course, won the podium with a flag to flag.
Yeah, that's right.
Still, an awfully long time ago.
Ah, yeah. 500 Grand Prix victories for Yamaha. And the honour has gone to Maverick Viñales. Congratulations to Yamaha. First Grand Prix win came way back in 1961. Danny Pedrosa in third place. Absolutely brilliant third place from Pedrosa, starting from 13th place on the grid. Taking advantage of Rossi's fall, but that's what you do. He's now second in the World Championship. In second place, his first MotoGP podium, Johan Zarco. But the race winner here, it's Yamaha's 500th Grand Prix victory. He's retaken the lead in the World Championship. He's 22 years old. He's from Spain. It's Maverick Viñales. So congratulations to the Yamaha factory team, their 500th Grand Prix win. First win back in 1961. Now in third place, on the podium in Austin, race winner in Jerez. On the podium once again here at Le Mans, Danny Pedrosa, now second in the World Championship. Double Moto2 World Champion, just his 5th MotoGP race. Homeland hero Johan Zarco takes second place. But the race winner, his third Grand Prix victory of the season, his third Grand Prix victory here at Le Mans. He retakes the lead in the World Championship. It's Maverick Viñales. Carver sprays, and we prepare our voices, our bodies for round 6 in Mugello in 2 weeks' time. It really cannot get a lot better than it is at the moment. Congratulations to Maverick Viñales, Johan Zarco and Danny Petrucci. Commiserations to Valentino Rossi and Marc Marquez with their crashes. And congratulations to Yamaha on their 500th Grand Prix victory.